Now, before we take a break, and again, there are some seats up front, and please make yourselves comfortable. Doris Palmeros is a graphic designer, originally from Laredo. She earned a BA at UT Austin, her MFA at the Tyler School of the Art in Philadelphia, and also worked 9 years in with mentors Seymour Trask and BK Holland in New York at Pushman Studios. She then founded her own company, Twin Pop, and then came back to South Texas in 2006 with her Irish husband and 2 little ones. 5 years at Giles Design here, and today her main pursuit is inspiring students at the University of Incarnate Word. Also, she has clients and helps them express their vision through freelance projects. Please give a warm round of applause for Doris Palmeros!
Here it goes. Space bar, right? I love food and I love design. As a graphic designer, I am unapologetically a commercial artist. I create work for paying clients so that I can put food on the table for my family. More often these days, the work I do is food related, and I have embraced collaborative work and barter work to the extent that I literally quite work for food. I would even go so far as to say that good graphic design sustains my spirit, in the same way as good food sustains my body. I'm lucky to be able to combine the two in a way that I can make a living doing what I love, and perhaps occasionally help make the world a better place. Typography is integral to how I communicate in my work. I see typography as a bridge between the visual and the verbal. Coming from a bilingual environment and never quite feeling adequate or at home in either language, I have found that I can often express in typography that which I cannot express in words alone. In my portfolio, but I'm going to show this too. This is my first menu I did for PechaKucha. It's a restaurant in Laredo. And it was straight out of school. I was new to the computer. It was the early 90s, and I went full throttle and overboard with the carpet in your embellishments and Kurt Hughes. Over enthusiastic. By grad school, I was living in the East Coast in Philly and experiencing a wider gamut of ethnic foods and of life in general. In school, I learned the importance of form and concept to good design and how powerful typography can be. I grew to appreciate type-centric design like designers Stefan Sagmeister. In 1998, we moved to Brooklyn, where I had my first real food order. I was paid with practically an open tab. We taught a French bistro in our neighborhood, and we feasted there many times with friends and family. This project, though, taught me that commerce and community need not be mutually exclusive. Next came a handy border with Maite Gomez Racon, a chef and caterer. It was a young exchange. I began to find myself designing for food-related projects because, whenever possible. It seemed beneficial as a struggling designer to eat for the experience of designing. Though not a barter or a culinary experience, I did spend 8 years liking green eggs and ham, working with Dr. Seuss Enterprises on their brand and licensing program. I enjoyed working with this client, and I learned a lot about being a graphic designer, so much so that I was able to start my own company with this little morsel of a client. Now back in Texas and working at Giles Design, I participated in my first food photo shoot with Jill Giles and Tracy Maurer. I learned on this project how to really melt appetizing food and design. And as a bonus, and part of our research, we were able to eat like queens, thanks to the hospitality of this Cortez family. Another food-related project I worked with Giles was the Identity for Melissa Guerra's kitchen store. The dominant aesthetic was that of the Southwest, with bright colors, lush tactility, vernacular typography, all evocative of the Mexican tiendas and markets. The identity is a play on Latin textiles and vintage signage. For the Esquire, I was able to work again with the Giles team in a multifaceted and holistic design project that involved signage, interior design, menu, stationery, website, the works. Our goal was to reinvent the oldest bar on the Riverwalk while paying homage to its past. The design is inspired by original storefront signage. I had quite a few more food-related projects with Jill. Notice there's a theme here, right? So I was able to employ various styles of typography to create individual restaurant and brand identities. This process gave me freedom to further explore restaurant and food-oriented design. Unfortunately, though, no open tabs here, though they are delicious spots. Having met Tim at Deer Mid, while we were low circle school moms, it was only a matter of time before we were planning and bartering our way to our heart's content and mutual benefit. Tim's focus is on locally sourced nutritious food, and one of our barters involved me designing for her weekly meal delivery in exchange for food to my doorstep. This led to further barters with Tim and involvement with special projects, where I become the in-house graphic designer. SPS is a collaborative project between artists, chefs, designers, musicians, and entrepreneurs, curated by Tim and Peter Zubati. One of the main goals of this pop-up parties is to create a space for people to come together in community and share art and food. My side of the barter is that my husband Kevin and I get to attend these awesome parties. SPS events, in some ways, encapsulate my ethos of working for food, in that they combine the two human fundamentals, food and community. Uncommon Fare is a local startup I designed for MBS Live. Josh Living's vision is to create a downtown neighborhood grocery store offering an alternative to the food shopping experience. I aimed at combining a modern general store with an urban corner store aesthetic. The design is driven by a handy Cerberus logo and type-centric design. Continuing with the localism, I worked with Peter Farms on extending their existing identity of raising chicken to introduce beef and duck. They raise their animals ethically and humanely, and my attempt was to evoke a no-frills natural look on their website and convey a feeling of interconnectedness in their logo. More recently, I worked with Chef Andrew Weissman for his new venture, Minnie's Tavern and Rye House. My goal here was to utilize typography evocative of the late 19th century aesthetic and create a milieu of classic Parisian brasseries and cafes, one that would entice my appetite with anyone with a beautiful and nostalgic form. Revisiting old borders, I'm collaborating again with my friend Mike there on her latest project, Art Bites, which combines art history and cooking classes. Here she is giving an art history presentation at SEMA during the Aphrodite tour, then moving into the kitchen for cooking class, and finishing up with a very sociable dining experience in the balcony overlooking the river. Coming full circle, although I always continue to learn and evolve as a designer, I am now a mother and a graphic design teacher at Incarnate Word. I love to teach my students and my children the importance of visual communication and typography, hopefully planting the seeds for future designers and foodies.
First of all, why come back to San Antonio from New York? Same question a lot of people here get.
Well, certain family seemed like it was quality, I guess, probably the life would be better here in San Antonio.
And has it been better here?
Yes, it has. It's embraced me, and my family's here. So.
And how tough is it? I know there are a lot of artists out there, or would-be artists. How tough is it to get a job, show people your book, and say, I can do this? How much you get paid, that kind of thing. How tough was it coming back here?
From New York, it
right.
was a little hard.
Just a little hard.
It's a little hard, yes. But it's getting much better.
And how is the...
It's growing, it's evolving. You know?
And how about at University of Incarnate Word? How is it different from UT Austin? And it's getting better here for art education.
Oh, yeah. Some of my crew here, I guess, they're back there somewhere.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Give it up for Doris.